Let's be honest, there is something deeply attractive about certain older men, and it has nothing to do with money, looks, or trying to appear younger than they are. What truly draws women to these men is far more subtle, far calmer, and far more powerful. They are men who don't try to stand out when they enter a room, and yet something happens. Women feel it before they can explain it. It's not chaos. It's not raw excitement. It's a quiet pull, almost magnetic. And this attraction isn't mysterious. It follows very precise psychological mechanisms rooted in female psychology, the nervous system, and attachment dynamics. What you're about to hear are 4 things certain older men do, often without even realizing it, that consistently trigger desire in women. Not temporary interest, not polite curiosity, but genuine attraction. And more importantly, attraction that makes women want to stay. Most dating advice today is no longer designed for men who have lived. It's built for younger men just entering relationships, how to send the right text, when to reply, how to create artificial mystery, how to play the game. But once you've lived, loved, and likely gone through long relationships, sometimes breakups, sometimes rebuilding, those rules stop working. Worse, they start working against you. Because at this stage of life, women are no longer responding to surface level signals. They respond to coherence. They respond to emotional safety mixed with tension. They respond to men who know where they stand. And this is where many older men go wrong without realizing it. They believe stability is enough. They believe kindness is enough. They believe seriousness is enough. But desire is not activated by moral qualities. It's activated by emotional signals. A man can be flawless on paper and completely neutral when it comes to desire. It's frustrating, but it's real. That's why women sometimes say, "You're a great man, but I don't feel anything." What they really mean is, my nervous system isn't responding to you. Desire isn't a conscious decision. It's a bodily response. And that response is triggered by 4 core pillars. The first one is often the most misunderstood. Some older men radiate a calm confidence, not loud confidence, not arrogance, not dominance, a grounded confidence. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't over-explain their choices, intentions, or emotions. They speak simply. They listen without losing themselves. They don't try to convince. Psychologically, this has a very specific effect. When a man speaks calmly without defending himself or seeking approval, the female brain registers emotional stability. The likes, the amygdala, the part associated with threat, lowers its activity, and in that state, desire can emerge. By contrast, a man who explains too much, reassures too quickly, or verbalizes everything often signals insecurity even if he's sincere. Excessive explanation is unconsciously read as a need for control or validation. A centered man doesn't need to explain who he is. He shows it through his inner posture, and this creates what many women describe as presence. That presence is intensely attractive, especially to women who have already experienced emotional instability and are done with it. They no longer want reactive men. They want men who can hold themselves. The second pillar is closely connected to the first. Women are deeply attracted to men who have a full life, not a busy life for appearances, not fake scarcity, a real life. A man with routines, commitments, passions, responsibilities. When an older man makes a woman the immediate center of his existence, the effect is the opposite of what he expects. It creates pressure, a subtle emotional weight, and desire does not grow under pressure. Mature women don't want to become someone's entire world. They want to be a meaningful addition to a life that already has structure. When a man moves forward in his life, when he has his own rhythm, when he isn't available at every moment, he sends a powerful signal of value, not because he's playing hard to get, but because his life is already full. The human brain naturally assigns more value to what isn't instantly accessible. This is a basic dopamine mechanism. Dopamine doesn't respond to reward itself. It responds to anticipation. A man who doesn't rush, who doesn't skip steps, who allows desire to build over time, activates anticipation. He becomes intriguing, and more importantly, he becomes believable because he isn't looking for someone to fill a void. He's inviting someone to share something that already exists. That is deeply reassuring for a woman. The third pillar is often underestimated in older men. It's the ability to remain playful, light, and relaxed without need. Many older men become too serious too quickly. They want to be respectable. They want to be taken seriously. But they forget that desire needs play. Not vulgarity, not heaviness. Play. A look held just a moment longer. A a smile that asks for nothing, a teasing remark with no expectation. The crucial element is freedom from outcome. A man who flirts without seeking validation creates ease, and ease is incredibly attractive. Neuropsychologically, this disarms the vigilant circuits. The woman doesn't feel expected. She doesn't feel claimed. She feels invited. And that difference is everything. Women with experience are exhausted by heavy interactions, hidden expectations, and emotional pressure. An older man who stays playful without pressure becomes rare. He shows emotional strength. He shows that he can hold tension without turning it into anxiety. Very few men can do this. The fourth pillar is the most powerful of all. Women are deeply drawn to men who have clear standards, not aggressive demands, not ultimatums. Standards. A man who knows what he accepts and what he doesn't. When a man is willing to walk away calmly from what doesn't suit him without anger or drama, he sends an extraordinarily strong signal. He respects himself, and self-respect is magnetic. From an attachment perspective, this creates clear polarity. The woman understands that she is not required for this man's emotional balance, and paradoxically, that increases desire because desire never moves toward dependency. It moves toward strength. A man with standards doesn't threaten. He doesn't negotiate endlessly. He acts, and the alignment between his words and his actions builds trust. Trust that allows desire to settle without fear. When these four elements come together, calm confidence, a full life, playful masculinity, and clear standards, something very specific emerges. Emotional leadership, not dominance, not control, inner leadership. These men don't try to lead women, they lead themselves. And that is exactly what many women are unconsciously searching for. Not a perfect man, not a spectacular man, an aligned man, a man whose presence calms and attracts at the same time. That is why some women become deeply attached to these men.